to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show. On this hump day, we're going to have a lot of fun as we always do here. My friend Nick Geddes is along with me. We got lots of baseball to talk about. We got some basketball to get into. Hockey is getting weird right now. Hockey is getting weird right now, and there are people. I didn't realize that there was a gaffe on the show the other night. I didn't watch the lottery show, but now everybody's talking about how Kevin Weeks let the cat out of the bag early. So the fix must have been in.
The conspiracy was there.
The conspiracy was there. So you were right. Crazy talk. So we got all kinds of fun stuff to get into today. And, of course, our friends in New York just can't shut up. They got to keep talking about the Rays cheating. Oh, my God. We'll get into all of it. A bad night for the Rays last night as they hit into 4 double plays. This is the only way you beat the Rays. Like, anomalies, like hitting into 4 double plays have to happen. And they had runners all over the base pass last night. And this is why their start is so ridiculously unbelievable, because this is what happens in baseball. Baseball's that game where any night you can hit the ball on the button 10, 15 times, and if you're hitting it right at people, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. And that's kind of what happened last night. They had a lot of bad luck in terms of how they had guys on base at certain times, but there you go. Sorry, you hit it right to a guy. And I can't remember one except maybe the fly-out, throw-out, I believe, was the only one that was maybe exceptional in any way. You're just hitting it right at guys. So it's kind of the way it goes. Eflin was not bad. You get a home run from Taylor Walls again. Taylor Walls. And Wander just –
Who the hell is that guy?
Taylor Walls. What? What? We should just do the whole show. Like Carton and what's the other guy's name?
Evan Roberts.
Evan Roberts, Carton, right? Do the whole show like that. Yeah, what? Taylor Walls. They're cheating. That's what they're doing. Hope you guys enjoyed the rant yesterday. We put that up for you. If you missed it, got to go back and check that out. That was fun. No, it's just this is baseball, and it's the way it goes. Now, I will say this. Boy, the Orioles have a real Rays look to them. They're starting to do what the Rays did. And they took, 3 years? 3 years to put all this together.
Well, it's been a lot of losing for more than 3 years, but they
epic losing for 3 years.
They finally got the core together here. Adley Rutschman, who had a bomb off of Eflin.
Yes.
I mean, you won't find many more impressive players than him.
No.
Across Major League Baseball. And then those 2 guys at the end of the game last night, and specifically Yainer Cano.
Dude.
Did you see the number? He had retired 47 of 49 batters entering that game.
Yeah.
He allowed just 2 base runners, no walks. And I saw him pitch, and I'm like, my goodness.
He's literally unhittable.
He's unhittable.
He's unhittable.
I mean, God bless Luke Raley for getting a hit off this guy somehow, because everything just, sinks so low into the zone, and it's like everybody, all they can do is just chop it into the ground.
It's weird movement, too.
Yeah.
With the three-quarter delivery, and, it's just that's weird. Whatever he's got going, he must be cheating. That's what's happening. He's cheating. That's what's going on. If we can't buy him as a Yankee, then he must be cheating. But that is just weird. So if you get to the 7th inning and you got a lead, which I think they're 19-2, the Orioles, with a lead.
And I see why.
Yeah. I mean, you're not getting anywhere with those 2 guys. I got news for you. You're not going anywhere with those 2 guys. They are they're tough. Let's just put it that way.
Which I don't understand, by the way, when you're Yainer Cano. I looked him up this morning again. He had an 18.69 ERA last year.
How's that possible?
Who just gets so much good stuff all of a sudden over an off season? How's that happen?
That doesn't happen.
I don't understand.
He's cheating. Yeah, he's using the same sticky stuff Garrett Cole suddenly found again. Got his spin rates back to where they were in Houston. What's going on with that? Maybe you ought to look into that, boys. Nah, we don't want to do that. So that was just part of the game. You're going to lose some.
Yeah, but they had opportunities yesterday.
Oh, they did.
All over the place.
They did.
So it was a 9-runner stranded on the bases in that game, and Yandy grounds into 3 double plays.
Randy got picked off.
Randy had a rough night. That was one of those games where I think Randy was kind of like,
yeah,
I'm here, but, I'm not really here.
Where's my Randy land? I can't play without Randy land.
Can't play without my Randy land, man.
Come on. We're going to take the show on the road.
Yeah, and to your point, I thought Eflin, the way Eflin kind of went through the first 3 innings, I thought we were looking at a guy going 7.
Yeah.
And we were going to shut this down, and he just ran into trouble with 1 inning, right?
Yeah.
Ran into some really good hitters second time through with Mullins and Rushman. And
the thought came to me, because his efficiency has been off the charts.
Especially a strike throw.
Yeah. My thought came to me that maybe he's throwing too many strikes now. You get to a point where you're throwing too many strikes. Everything's in the zone. Guys are hot, looking for just something in the zone, and your movement is just maybe a tick off that particular night, which maybe it was last night. But they didn't get a lot of good swings, but they got a couple, and that's all they needed.
No.
You get was it 3-run homer or 2-run homer for Rushman?
Yeah, the 2-run homer for Rushman.
Yeah. They hit a couple other balls hard, but it's just one of those nights. You're just not. They were 0 for 9, 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They had a couple home runs, but not when they had the bases clogged like they had many, many times. And it's just one of those games. They sat Brandon Lowe down, and at this point, does Taylor Walls become your everyday second baseman?
I know a lot of Rays fans are calling for it.
Yeah.
And his Cash has continued to kind of put Brandon Lowe, when he's in the lineup, he sits him in that 4 hole still.
Yeah.
But we've seen this with Brandon Lowe. He is.
It's like we're second-guessing the Rays today.
We're not.
It feels stupid doing it. We'll just put that out there right now. We feel stupid doing it.
Well, no,
but
the Brandon Lowe thing is
question.
the Brandon Lowe thing's a real conversation.
Yeah.
He's hitting. He's in danger of falling below the Mendoza line for the batting average here all of a sudden.
Right.
All right.
It's not good.
He's always been pretty, boom or bust, and he can carry your lineup for 2 weeks, and he can also be a detriment to your lineup for 2 weeks as well. So, the way Taylor Walls is playing, and I saw a great breakdown. If people haven't seen it, it's on MLB Network's Twitter. Mark DeRosa put a great breakdown of the difference of Taylor Walls this year and the Taylor Walls of last year.
I haven't seen it.
I'll go ahead and retweet it for everyone.
But
it's a great breakdown, and you'll see what Taylor Walls is doing differently. It's actually pretty dramatic, and it's something that DeRosa says, I would never do this. I would never do this is what he said, but it's working for him. So, different strokes for different folks. So, I think to answer your question, though, to come back to that, I would like to see Taylor Walls probably play more. The fact that he gives you the switch hitting ability and the utility as well, the defense, obviously, which is a big upgrade over Brandon Lowe no matter where that guy's on the field. I think Taylor Walls has earned his spot in this lineup probably more often than not. I'm not saying there's not a spot for Brandon Lowe by any means. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, injuries will take care of this eventual question.
And everybody's going to play.
Yeah. But right now, I think you got to take advantage of what Taylor Walls is doing. He just cannot be a part-time player with the numbers he's putting up and his defensive ability.
And he really hasn't been a part-time player here in the last 2 weeks, I'd argue.
Right.
Last 2-3 weeks, they've gotten him in there most to not. But
because of his versatility, he can play so many places.
And it's just when you have a lineup like this, it's just you probably want to get Raley in there more than you're able to get him in. You want to get Paredes more in there than you're probably able to get him in. Josh Lowe has had to sit a few more times probably than you would have liked. It's just when you have a lineup like this, that's a good problem.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have. It's a great problem. And again, we're nitpicking here. And it just, but that's when you have so many players that are this good, there's going to be competition, and that's good for the team. That makes everybody better because you know that every night you come to the yard, you better produce or somebody else is going to be out there in most positions. So, and that's good. And just, Brandon Lowe, somebody needs to figure this out. How can a guy be so good and so bad at the same time? I've seen streaky players, but he takes it to a whole different level.
I tell you what, I was surprised yesterday, too, when he came up to the plate to pinch hit there in the 9th inning. Yeah. And I'm looking at Yiner Cano, and I'm like, okay, his ball naturally fades away from lefties, and that's where Brandon Lowe, I've seen him do one of these over and over, right? Yeah. And I'm like, what is Brandon Hyde doing? Taking out Yiner Cano to put in Batista, who's more of a fastball thrower, knowing that Lowe, that's what he hits is the fastball, not the off-speed. But that's the whole thing, though, of my point is right now he's just not adjusting to the off-speed. He's really not seeing many fastballs.
No, he's not going to see any fastballs.
And when he is, like kind of how Batista pitched him and give Brandon credit, he was able to lay off some of them. He had one that he should have had ball for earlier in the count. But when they're throwing him fastballs, they're throwing him above him and just daring him to swing. So you're getting a lot more strikeouts now, and you're not getting as much contact. So they're not letting him beat him right now.
Right.
Beat you right now.
So and he's going to have to make an adjustment, or again, you gotta sit him because Taylor's just playing that well. So last night, notwithstanding, not a great night, but on we go. Afternoon game today, right? Beeks is going to start.
No, it's still night.
Night game, and then
It's still night, and then we go back into 4 against the Yankees.
the Yankees. Okay. I thought they had a day game today for some reason.
I know it's usually like the third game of the week is always a day
getaway
game,
game,
but
yeah.
not this one.
Okay. So tonight we got Beeks starting,
We got Beeks is on the mound to start this one.
and then Chirinos maybe for the long term, for the bulk.
Potentially.
So, yeah.
Potentially, yeah. So the name of the game, let's get 2 out of 3.
Yeah, get
Just
2
win,
out of 3.
Just win these series before you got to go play the Yanks.
And then you go to New York, to Yankees, to play the Yankees up there in the Bronx.
I can't.
For 4 big wins.
That I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Because this is the real Yankees now. This
Yeah.
Judge is back.
Judge is back.
The Yankees
Yeah.
are feeling themselves again.
Yeah.
Probably. Are we going to get round 2 with Garrett Cole, I believe, in that series too?
No, probably.
You'd figure, yeah?
4 games, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get round 2 with Garrett Cole.
Yep.
Ooh.
When did he pitch? Friday night?
No, that was a Sunday.
Sunday game? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so he'll be pitching that series.
Yeah, we'll definitely get him. So we had some fun yesterday with the boys, Carton and Roberts, their show up in New York, and we had some fun with it yesterday. Hope you caught the beginning of yesterday's show because it was kind of funny. You can check it out on our Twitter. But shockingly enough, even after my satirical beatdown of what they did, which you would think they'd never show their face again ever. Like, I thought they would just resign their show. Like, how can you come back from that, what I did to them? But they doubled down on it. They doubled down on it. But I'm sure this time they brought facts, right? This time they brought some facts, like some evidence, something, after being torched by everybody in America on social media. Certainly they came back with some type of retort that had some basis or numbers, a cogent argument, backing up their ridiculous position. Surely that's what happened, right?
Well, let's find out.
Okay.
Let's find out together right here.
Dun, 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 dun. Here we go.
I'm just being honest
is.
about my curiosities about the Rays. I mean, I've just called it like it is. I didn't realize the entire city of Tampa would be offended. Look at all those crappy players and how they're all having amazing years.
Yeah.
They have a lot of guys on their team that all of a sudden are putting up crazy numbers.
Yeah, but the reality is that Afternoon Evan, follows these clowns and maybe onto something.
I'm just giving you my opinion that watching the baseball team over those 3 days, and I'll watch them again next week, and looking at the numbers and looking at the guys on the roster, and they do have some good young players. Like, I'm not knocking McClanahan, who's one of the best pitchers in the league. I know how good he is and how good some of the arms out of the bullpen are. And I like Wander Franco, but there's a lot of examples. A lot of these.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. Like, Chad Mottola is the greatest hitting coach of all time.
Well, what do we say to that? Do we look at some of the numbers?
Well, what do you say? Crappy players?
Crappy players. Yeah.
So who in that lineup has
Evidently,
had a...
Shane McClanahan and Wander Franco are the only good players that we have.
I was going to say.
Everybody else is crappy.
If you actually go through the lineup and you have it right there,
Mm-hmm.
who is crappy or came into the league with no pedigree as a prospect?
Let's see. Randy Arozarena. Let's call him up for who's hitting .321 this year and has 9 home runs. Okay, he is his career .275 hitter. The career .275 hitter. It's been a short career.
Yeah, but give me the evidence as to why that's gone up this year.
Well, first of all, the shift. There's no shift.
Okay.
Everybody batting averages are up across baseball.
Give me the big one, the second one.
He started playing for Mexico before spring training.
Okay.
And is already in midseason form.
Okay, give me the third one.
The third one, he's paying attention to his scouting report for the first time in his career.
Okay, there you go.
So,
there's an argument to support or disprove, rather, a hypothesis.
right. So, and we've seen him do it before. So, therefore, ergo, he's just becoming a better player and not by a large margin. He always had power, Always was a good contact guy.
Just was never consistent, but now he's consistent.
Right. Josh Lowe. Let's take Josh Lowe for example. Obviously, did not do well when he came up last year. Okay, he's hitting .312 with 7 home runs and 20 RBIs. Okay, Josh Lowe has been one of the premier prospects in baseball for quite some time. First round pick. He's 6'4", 205 pounds. Had power in the minor leagues. So it is unheard of for a gentleman to come. But by the way, this is his second opportunity. Last year did not go so well. But he obviously tweaked his swing. We know his story. He became more comfortable. Last year was a lot of pressure. So is it incredibly abnormal for a prospect that's this good to come up with a team that's hot, by the way, and good players hitting all around him, to hit .312, 7 home runs?
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
No, it happens every year. It happens every year. It happens all the time. This is not a career 210 minor league hitter or major league hitter that just suddenly is incredibly so much better. That's not the case. Let's go with Itzhak Paredes. What is his pedigree? And he's got 4 home runs. He's only hitting .261. He's got 21 RBIs. But here's a player that came over last year and did. What were his numbers last year?
I know he hit 20 home runs. The average was a little low.
Yeah. So last year for the Rays in 2022, he hit .205 and had 20 home runs and 45 RBIs in 331 at-bats. So essentially a 35 home run pace.
He's actually well off his home run pace of last year if you actually break
average
it down.
is up, but but again, this is a guy that hit 20 home runs in the major leagues last year.
Former top prospect.
In
his own right.
Yeah. I mean, we can go on and on. It's not.
That's what I'm saying. Who are the players? And we talked about this, I feel like, when the Rays were first going on this run. It's not like anybody's really outdoing what they.
Yandy Diaz is doing what
Yandy Diaz does what he does.
A little bit more pop.
Yes, and we've talked about it because he's got more launch angle now.
Yeah.
That goes for Harold Ramirez as well, who's always been a great contact hitter, and now he has more launch angle and he's hitting home runs.
But you can't just get better by tweaking your swing and working hard. You can't do that you got to be cheating. You got to be cheating. I don't want to say it, but I'm just going to sit here and talk about it for 3 minutes saying they're cheating. I don't want to say it, but yeah.
Yeah, and what was the other player he was pressed about? Christian Bethancourt, right?
Yeah.
Who I believe was a former catching prospect, who if you actually look at his hitting over the years, he's been I'd go above average maybe for the catcher position. He's been an above average hitting catcher. Right. And this year he's literally now he's a little bit above average now.
Well, he's getting more plate appearances.
He's just getting more plate appearances, and he's just hit more home runs this year than typical.
Last year, in 151 at-bats with the Rays, he had 7 home runs and hit .255. So at 151 at-bats, multiply that by approximately 4, and you're looking at a 28-30 home run pace. So what he's doing is not ridiculously out of whack. It's in line with balls that are flying a little bit harder, and with the new changes in the rules.
The only player that has taken a substantial step, and I guess you could throw Josh Lowe in there because it's one, but Josh Lowe has hit like this in the minors for years.
Right.
The only player that's really outdoing what I ever thought he could have is Taylor Walls. That's really it.
Yeah.
Taylor Walls is hitting $185 over his first 2 years with the Rays.
Yeah.
$185.
He's hitting .265.
He's hitting .265, but he's got, 7 home runs now to go with it?
6 home runs, yeah.
6 home runs to go with it. He's always been a great defender, all those things.
Right.
He's the only player, but like I said, and I retweeted the video on the show page, encourage you to go watch it. It's 4 minutes long. There are reasons as to why he has taken another level to his game this year. And he also told Ryan Bass, too, on a road trip, that he has a new mental. He's doing a new mental and notes approach as well. So study habits have changed. He's got a new mental routine going up to the plate. And then his stance, where his hands were kind of up here, now he's down here.
Yeah.
He's more compact.
Yes.
It's really not that hard to look at, which is why when I wrote about this yesterday, I made sure to include all this information because I'm going to be backing up my hypothesis, unlike some others.
this is,
That's
this
what
is
I'll
why you're still in Tampa and you're not in New York, because you do all the research, you have a well-reasoned argument, you just don't spout stupid crap and throw it out there so you get clicks, so people can come back and listen to your show. I mean, clearly we have no idea what we're doing. We're doing it all wrong. We got to stop with the research and when well thought out arguments and entertaining comebacks. Like we got to stop doing that stuff, because clearly we're not gonna make it a WFAN like this. We just got to go pure clown show, and just just say the stupidest thing that we could say. Orlando's going to build a $1.7 billion stadium, and the Rays are going to move there. Well,
when do we get to that part of the show?
Right. Well, why not right now? So, by the way, Pat Williams, I've known Pat forever. Since he started the Magic. I'm that old, but I go back that way when Pat was going around the state, and I was in Tallahassee at the time, and he would come on my show, my TV show. We'd do that, and he'd be barnstorming around the state for the Orlando Magic. And of course, Pat Williams is one of my favorite people on the planet. I'm just going to tell you, he's written so many great books. He's the most positive person you'll ever meet in his life. He's done so much in his life. The adopted kids. If you don't know his story, it's one of the greatest stories ever. So I love me some Pat Williams. And I'm curious about what he's doing, and I think it's interesting that here is Orlando, and here's Orlando, wanting to commit $1 billion of public money. Now you say, well, this is the tourist tax. It's people have, since COVID, they've been overrun. The theme parks have been packed and all that stuff. So it's like, okay, I get it, but why should they spend $1 billion on a baseball stadium? And the other part of that is, where's the ever $700 million coming from? The Rays? Well, good luck with that. And what evidence is there that Orlando would support baseball any better than Tampa would? Now, they're going to locate the stadium in Aquatica, which is 15, 20 minutes from, well, depending on I-4, it could be 3 hours from downtown. Location. It's an awful location. Right where SeaWorld is. I've actually spent a lot of time there in the past couple of months. It's tourist central.
You want to see a real traffic nightmare?
Yeah.
I can show you. I can show you one right now already, right there.
Oh my God!
If you want to add a baseball stadium,
and the people that live
there.
in Orlando don't live on the south side. They live on the north side, away from where it would be. Correct?
Yeah.
That's where most of the bedroom communities are.
Yes.
So they have to all go through downtown on I-4 or around downtown on I-4.
Yeah, you're still
going
to have headaches to get to that area.
I think that's a terrible location.
In fact, most people that I know when I was in Orlando kind of live out in like the suburbs area around UCF, like Oviedo,
which is the northwest side.
Yeah, like Oviedo,
northeast side.
Yeah, northeast side kind of. And so if you kind of were to just map it like that, you're probably looking at like a 30 to 35-minute drive with no traffic to that area.
Yeah.
But we know that's not how Orlando works.
No.
So I don't really know if you're solving any issues necessarily from a transit standpoint in your own city.
You're not.
First of all, where that stadium would be located.
Yeah, I don't. And if you're planning on tourists filling up the seats, well, first and foremost, baseball is not a game. In the Latin American countries, yes, but as an international game, it doesn't approach what basketball or hockey, maybe even football, just because of its giant reach. It just doesn't. Baseball has no meaning in Europe or Asia. Baseball is big in Japan, but it's not big in China. It's not big in the other countries. It's not big in Europe at all. I would say South America, Central America, certainly.
Everything on like North America, and the upper half of South America and Central America.
Yeah. So it's not like tourists are going to just flood in there, and you can't count on tourists to be your season ticket holders. And Orlando is just not a big enough market, in my opinion, to handle something like this. And by the way, I just don't see it.
Well, I think it's a big enough market to get another sports franchise. I mean, isn't it like the biggest market to only have like one, like of the big four?
Oh, you're not counting UCF as a second professional franchises
Well,
in terms of
the Big
interest?
Four.
Yeah.
The Big Four.
No, I get it. But here's the thing: Tampa Bay is only an hour away. You don't
That's why it
need
doesn't
a
make
team.
sense.
No, it doesn't. So the only thing you would do is move the Rays. And Major League Baseball has already identified Tampa Bay. It's a much larger market, and the Rays have history here. For Major League Baseball, it would be asinine for them to move the Rays to Orlando. Completely asinine.
And it'd be even more asinine to keep the Rays in Tampa Bay and then try to put an expansion team 100 miles away.
Never going to happen.
To Orlando.
Never going to happen.
There's no sense in that one whatsoever.
So I don't see how this works.
And I don't see where the financials back up either.
I don't see where the financials work. I don't think the location is great. But I love Pat Williams, and he's going to be on the show tomorrow at 10:30.
I'm curious because I want to know.
So we're going to talk to Pat tomorrow at 10:30.
And I want to know who he's talked to about this. Is this a Pat Williams endeavor? And I know he's always wanted to get a team here, but is there a
He's a dreamer.
He's
That's
a
the
dreamer.
name.
I understand.
The Orlando Dreamers.
Fitting for this.
Yeah.
Is there a groundswell movement from people who live in Orlando?
Well, you lived there for 4 years or 3 years. What do you think?
Don't recall seeing a groundswell movement.
Yeah.
I texted a lot of my friends who live in Orlando.
That are sports fans.
They're sports fans, and they're like, "Yeah, this is never going to happen." And we don't really have that much interest in it. The Rays are right there. If we want to go to a baseball game, we'll spend a weekend there in Tampa or whatever.
And by the way, can we just concentrate? If you want to spend some of that public money, spend it on
I can think of a lot more issues in Orlando
on a
that need to be
high-speed
fixed.
train to Orlando from Miami and Tampa, which they're building.
Yeah.
But you could, sweeten the pot with things like that. That's not something that's going to bring tourists to Orlando.
No, and I
don't
know a
think-
lot of people are trying to use the theory okay, well the Magic at least this year, they sold well, but I think that's
I looked up their attendance. You know that their attendance is 95%, 94%. They average their 15th in attendance in
yeah, it was up this year.
yeah, and it's and they're 95% full.
Yeah, there was a lot of excitement
pretty
around the
good.
team this year.
That's
right?
pretty good.
And the Orlando City, by all accounts, I know, and I'm not the biggest follower of the MLS necessarily, but from all I remember is that stadium sells pretty well as well. But I think baseball though is it's so much different than soccer, and especially soccer to me just fits Orlando's vibe. It feels like soccer works there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even basketball to an extent. Baseball to me is such I don't want to say a niche sport necessarily, but it's a you know what I mean. It's such a different demographic that you're selling to, and it's not what I feel when I go to Orlando.
Right. That's what makes Tampa Bay such a great market for baseball because everybody, as we talked with Denard Span yesterday, everybody
he was proud of that too, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Oh, he was very vocal about that. Yeah, we should maybe play that answer back where he said, basically, we're really proud of being an area that puts out great baseball players. We talk about it, within the high school ranks when he was coming up and the all-star teams, the AAUs, the travel ball.
I've been saying it for years, man. I've been saying it for years. I've been around a lot of these players when they're younger. Yeah. I've sat at luncheon tables with Jose Fernandez when he was 17.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this guy who the hell is this? And then 2 years later, he's the first round pick.
Yeah.
I've had that happen so many times when
and
I've been younger.
At these national tournaments that all our teams go to, when Tampa Bay shows up in your bracket, everybody knows, oh shit, these guys are good.
Damn right.
Miami, Hialeah, Miami, Tampa Bay. Whenever you play in a travel ball situation and you're playing against one of those teams, this is what I hear from all the travel teams. Everybody's eyes perk up oh shit, we know they're going to bring somebody. They're going to have, Kyle Tucker on their team, or Jose Fernandez, or Singer, or McCullers.
Did you ever go and speaking of Kyle Tucker, real quick? Did you ever go and see him play when he was at Plant?
I did. Yeah.
I saw him come and play Brandon in a game once, and everybody was in the bleachers, that guy right there is a first-round pick and everything.
Yeah, and McCullers, when he pitched, it's 2,000 people there.
Such a big deal all the time.
Yeah,
I remember even
that's what people say. Oh, Tampa Bay's not a baseball market.
I remember
I'm you're so stupid.
I remember when I was a freshman too, at Durant, we had a player named Tyler Danish, if you remember, if you know him.
Yep.
I think he might play for the Red Sox now.
Mm-hmm.
He was a first-round pick in 2013, and I was a freshman that year. And I remember Jim Leland and all these managers were on our property in little little Dover, Florida there.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap. But that's all over the place here in this county.
Oh, yeah. The Division I rosters are littered with
We
Tampa Bay players.
We got a player from Strawberry Crest. I need to get his name again. He's projected to go into the top 10 in the draft this year.
Yeah.
He's committed to Florida State, but he ain't going to sign. He's getting drafted in the top 10
Yeah.
from Strawberry Crest.
Yeah. Well, it happens all the time. Every year we've got 2 or 3 first-round picks. And that's what Denard's talk about. We take it seriously here. We know we have a standard to uphold, and they do it. They do it every year, and we have a culture here of baseball. I don't think that exists to that degree in Orlando or anywhere else except maybe Miami. It's just that's the way we grow up and playing baseball.
Well, yeah,
I mean, even at my age, I had 3 professional players on my high school baseball team.
Yeah.
One of them, which one of my best buddies, was second-round pick.
It truly is a crime.
Yeah.
It is a crime, given the baseball heritage in this market and in Miami, that both have been a franchise for 30 years and 25 years, respectively.
Yeah.
And we haven't been able to figure it out and get it right in those markets. It is almost a crime, to be honest.
Yeah, but as we've
people,
detailed.
Because people outside just go, oh, baseball doesn't work in Florida and this and that. And
Well,
I'm like,
because
these
they
are
don't-
2 of the biggest, richest baseball communities in the entire country.
If you've lived here, and I have happened to live in both places. I grew up in South Florida, and I've lived here now for 27, 28 years. So I think I have a pretty good feel for the fabric and the culture of each particular place. And everybody in South Florida grows up playing baseball. You just go, you play Little League. Almost every kid plays, at least tries Little League. It's a big deal. Baseball is a big deal. But they got an expansion team, and the first stadium that they played in was where the Dolphins play, which was out in the middle of nowhere, nothing around it except, small neighborhoods, Miramar, a couple of strip malls. There was nothing around it, and it was, without question, the worst baseball stadium configuration in history. It was incredibly generic. It was, the squashed in left field, the long right field, it was just awful. It was just awful. And they had some good teams, but you're not, baseball is a urban sport. You've got to put it in the stadium's got to be in the middle of the area so that businessmen can get out of work from their corporations who have tickets, and go down to the ballpark. Walk to the ballpark, take a subway to the ballpark, take a taxi to the ballpark, whatever. This is in the major cities where they do well in attendance, right? For the most part, this is what happens. And, that's not what they did in Miami. And then they build a new stadium, and they had this same stadium, protracted stadium bull crap for years and years and years. Then they say, well, the city of Miami was so dysfunctional, and that's corrupt government like you've never seen before. It's Chicago South when it comes to corruption. So these Miami commissioners do this ridiculous deal and push all the money down the road, so it's financed at about $2.5 billion by the time they get done playing for it, and they pick the Orange Bowl site, which is you couldn't pick a worse site in the middle of a blighted area. Sorry, Little Havana, where there's no easy in or out. I went to the Dolphin Stadium, the Orange Bowl, my entire youth, and it was impossible to get into, impossible to park. It was just terrible. It's not in downtown Miami. It's not in the middle of the market, which would have been Fort Lauderdale, where most of the families lived in Fort Lauderdale and West Palm and South. And then they could come up from Miami. That's where you'd want to put it. And, somewhere in central Broward County would have been perfect. That would have been centrally locating your stadium so the entire area can get there, not just Pinellas or just, western Miami. Mm-hmm. It's just a terrible. So they screwed it up twice. Not once, but twice. They built a nice stadium. And, of course, the whole beginning of the for franchise when they insulted all the Cuban Americans, that went well. So it's just they've done everything wrong from the very beginning. Huizenga coming in, getting a World Series, and then crap, nobody shows up, and then selling off all the team. Everything has been done wrong. And then here in Tampa, we put it in the worst place possible in terms of the middle of the market, access to it, downtown St. Petersburg that's surrounded by water. MLB told them not to build a stadium there because of the location. They knew it was a failed location when they built it. Then you had the worst owner in baseball that kicked everything off, pissed off. I mean, to this day, you still have law firms and businesses in St. Petersburg that say, I will never spend a dime on the Rays because of Vince DeMoli. So he poisoned the water so poorly that MLB had to come in and remove him. And we still had a poorly located and a terrible stadium.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you that today, actually, about the whole idea of building that stadium and the WDU documentary, right? The Rise of the Rays, I think is what it was called, right? Kind of illuminated this a little bit, how they built the stadium before they had even gotten awarded a franchise, right?
Well before,
in hopes of being so attractive, like, hey, we already have the stadium, we're ready to roll, right?
Right.
And I'm just wondering, like, let's just say in an alternate universe this goes through, right? Where Orlando gets this stadium built and they have it built, and then next time, could you see them almost, even though they have the stadium, like, I feel like they'd be the same thing. They're just going to get passed over in cycles. Because I was talking to some people in Orlando as well, and for the ones who wanted the team, said, if you put us next to Nashville, we should get the bid if we have the stadium. And I'm sitting there like, I don't think Major League Baseball would go to Orlando over Nashville. I don't care what they're building in Orlando.
No, it doesn't. And that's why MLB didn't want those teams moving there, because they knew it would be an attendance nightmare. They knew it. They have all the data. He had all the data back then, and had Tampa done it the right way, if who was the other guy bidding against the Moley? What's his name in the documentary? The car dealer, whatever. That guy. If he would have, terrible. I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. Early dementia. Had he won the bid and they would have built the stadium in Tampa, we wouldn't have had these issues with attendance. I'm not saying it would be packed every night. It's not what I'm saying. But we would have started off at least building the stadium in the right place. And in my mind, would have gotten the 92 expansion team instead of Huizenga. Because that was a better place to build it. And that's where MLB wanted the stadium in the first place. The only reason we got it is because Namoli was such a jerk that he pissed off baseball and sued them, and they were going to have to air all their dirty financial laundry in the public, and they said, okay, we'll give you a team. But eventually we want you moving it to Tampa. And that's where we're at right now. And now we have a mayor, in my estimation, who is overzealous in trying to, quote, keep the Rays when it's not in the best interest. This is why they're doing why do you think they're doing all these negotiations in secret? Because the mayor does not want to admit to his constituents that have no interest in spending $600 to $800 million on a baseball stadium. He does not want to reveal that through the process, because he knows if he does, he's going to get a lot of pushback. And he wants to be able to put it on the table, and then within a week, a month, or whatever, just have the city council vote it in and just do it. And spend this public money in a failed location. Without a whole lot of public comment, without, certainly the media is not going to be interested in it. They haven't been interested in it to this point. And you're doing business with a guy who's being sued by his partners for some very serious fiduciary crimes. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. This is political influence, and you think Stu Sternberg gives a rat's ass about this stadium being poorly located? No, he doesn't, because he's over it. He just wants the money. And as soon as he gets a stadium deal done, the value of the franchise is going to go up to about $2.5 billion. He's going to sell it, and we're going to be left with a poorly located stadium. And an ownership group coming in that doesn't have any money to run the team, because they've spent $2.5 billion on buying the team in a poorly located area, and then they won't have the revenue once the team gets bad again, because that will happen. It's cyclical. It's baseball. And that team will not be good, and you have a brand new stadium in a terrible location that nobody goes to. And Stu will be up in Wall Street laughing his ass off at how he took Tampa Bay for $2.5 billion. And this is and we're going to be sitting here with this incredible growth to the east of Tampa, and a stadium that's on the edge of the market, surrounded by water. And this is what we think is good. This is a good expenditure of public money. This is best for baseball. I can tell you this: MLB doesn't want that. They don't want it at all. But they're so sick of probably dealing with this. If they said, "Okay, we're going to give you $1 billion to build a stadium," they'd just be like, "All right, whatever. Let's get it done. Let's get the stadium done. We'll see what happens." But I'm telling you, it's going to fail. It's going to be a disaster. And I don't know why anybody's not talking about this but me and you. Like, where's the rest of the media on this? That this whole negotiation for what the Rays are going to get in public money is going on. They're going out of their way to do one-on-one meetings so it doesn't fall within the sunshine laws to keep it all secret. And they're like proud of it.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's one of those like the time of the year right now. I feel like adds the context there. Like we're in the middle of the season. The Rays are off to a historic start, and it's overwhelmingly positive. Correct?
Right.
And we've tried to do the same thing. Keep it overwhelming. Like today's the first day we've actually questioned something on the Rays for weeks. There's nothing really to question, and we're nitpicking almost because they lost one game, right? So I think like timing of everything is key here. That it's easy for a story like that to kind of get lost in the shuffle a little bit because the team is. I feel like if the team was trash, let's say the team was really trash, like White Sox level trash,
right?
And you had these issues going on and nobody was coming to the games because they're not good, right? I feel like we would be probably talking more about it in other spaces. Is that fair?
Yes, absolutely.
And by the way, I'm cool with that because we've talked a lot of stadium, and it's a reoccurring issue. It's always just going to be until it's figured out.
Right.
But the fact that we have a great team right now to talk about.
Agreed. That's why we haven't been spending a lot of time on it.
Exactly.
But when they lose, that's when we're getting into it. You guys
Damn
suck.
it, when they lose?
You suck. Yeah, but the underlying part of this is we love the Rays and we want them to be successful and stay here long term.
I just want them to be. I just want them to win a World Series first and foremost.
You have to
I want them to win a
remember
World
this.
Series first, and then we can figure out the stadium.
But there is a financial component to this, okay? Even though the stadium would still be 4 years off, I'm talking long term.
Mm-hmm.
The revenue you're going to make in Tampa, with all the growth to the east, and speaking of Orlando. When Pat said that it takes an hour 10 from East Tampa to get to Aquatica, I said, sure, if they're starting the games at 2 a.m., yes.
An hour and 10?
I don't think Pat's driven I-4 in quite some time. So it's an hour 10 just between Lake Alfred and 429, folks, just so you know. It takes a long time from East Tampa to get to Aquatica. But it's people in Orlando can come here. And now that we're putting the train in, and the train will come into downtown Tampa right next to where the stadium will be, you're getting a lot more. It's a no. Jesus, I don't have to make this case. It's so stupid that St. Petersburg is such a stupid location. I love the place. It doesn't need a baseball stadium. It's just like I can't even believe we're thinking about this. I can't believe the mayor of St. Petersburg is really thinking we're going to spend $1 billion or $800 million on this failed baseball location.
When
you could build a convention center that'll be there for generations to come.
Again, from an optics standpoint, I need somebody in Tampa to let's.
It takes two to tango.
I understand it takes two to tango, but I'm just saying, just looking through everything, and I'm not as deep into like the nuances of what's going inside. I'm just looking around, and I'm like, I don't see anybody in Tampa really jumping off the.
Well, you got it.
I don't see Mayor Castor, for example, jumping up and down like Mayor Welch is to keep the Rays.
Well, it's a problem.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's a problem.
So when I see things like that, I question myself of, is the city of Tampa really even going all in on this?
Well, thank God Jane Castor has very little to do with this because it's not the city that's going to be funding it. It's the county. And Ken Hagan has certainly been done the bidding.
Need more cheerleaders or something.
Yeah, we do need more cheerleaders because there's this stupid-ass narrative out there that Hillsborough County has no money. And that's just dumb. It's dumb. It's uninformed. It doesn't have as much bed tax money as Pinellas, but to say it has no money is dumb. It's dumb. They offered to pay half for the Ybor Stadium, and they're still offering to pay half now. They just need the Rays to step up and pay half as well. That's all.
I read a comment, and I'm just being reminded of some awful days driving back and forth from college.
Why? What?
Jordan said, take an hour and 10 minutes to get to Lakeland on a good day. Pat, ever been to Champions Gate exit? Oh, my gosh.
Come on, dude.
My gosh. Exit 50. It's exit 58 to be specific on I-4.
Yeah.
The worst I have ever seen in my life.
It just closes down, and there's going to be a 35-minute backup every freaking day. It's like clockwork. It's just part of it's, and they've never stopped working on the road ever. In my lifetime, I have never driven through Orlando, downtown. I've never driven all the way through Orlando with the interstate being complete, ever. I'm almost 60, I've been driving to Orlando since I was 3, and I've never. That's how long that thing's been under construction.
It
still doesn't. It's still not big enough.
It's to the point where, like, when I type into my maps now when I go to Orlando, it tells me to go up to Ocala.
Exactly. Yeah.
And through
and go over. Yeah.
And through over the old people, the villages.
Go around the green swamp.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, that's the way it is. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get into some NFL chatter as well with the Buccaneers. I think I have just a little bit of different take on what this offensive line is going to look like, and I think it's going to be better. Call me crazy. Dan Lucas is going to join us at 11 o'clock as well from News Channel 8. Always fun to have Dan on. We'll talk all kinds of local sports. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawGroup.com, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Back in 3. Are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 less after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work, you save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, we got our new bit. Our next bit coming up in the next couple of weeks. Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Personal attention. If you have personal injury, get some personal attention from the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group. The Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Chris Lugo and his medical team will get you straightened out. Whatever your ailments are, just get healthy, man. They'll get you at the right weight, get you nutrition advice, workout advice, get you on the right supplements, and get you on the TrueBody machine, which is like doing 50,000 crunches in 15 minutes. Get you some abs like I got.
I didn't like the sound of that.
Yeah, that was breakfast. All right, we're going to get to some of our comments here. We got a lot of comments coming in today. Richie P. says in our discussion of Brandon Lau, Laura, I don't even want to know what they will say when we trade Brandon Lau and Yandy Diaz and bring up one of our prospects, Kyle Manzada, next year. Then you really be cheating.
That Mazzardo just brought this up to me. Ken Rosenthal wrote a column in The Athletic today, like a news and notes, and one of the titles he put on it was, "Why did the Rays not get Sean Murphy?" Because remember, we were really big on him, and now he's like, he's the best catcher in baseball this year and his MVP candidate so far.
Right.
And it looks like the Braves the A's rather, were hell-bent on getting Taj Bradley and this Kyle Manzardo from the Rays to get Sean Murphy. And Manzardo, they feel, is like the future of their team at first base from a power hitting perspective. And obviously we've seen Taj Bradley. Yeah. So I got to tell you what. And what are the chances the Rays were going to be able to extend Sean Murphy to? Probably pretty low. So
that's a guy.
I know
that's a guy that you would have to pay right away.
Yeah.
You notice all these long-term deals they graduate up to actual real money. I think Wander's he made one last year. He's making $5 this year.
Yeah, you can't do that with him.
Yeah, sure. You'd have to be paying him $25 right away.
Or would he even have interest in signing?
Yeah, probably not.
So that's what I'm saying. The chances are so low, so I give a little golf clap for the Rays for standing pat there.
Standing pat, yeah. I mean, and they were right about who they were going after, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, true. Richie P. says Brandon, for whatever reason, cannot figure out the changeup. I mean, there was an at-bat last week that all they threw at him were changeups, and it's like the first time he'd seen it every time. Yeah, I mean, he's got issues with the breaking stuff. You just can't, why throw him a fastball? They figured that out, and they're not going to. And then he'll start chasing, and that's what leads to these prolonged slumps. It's like when he's hot, they almost forget how to pitch.
He's
it.
got Pedro Serrano syndrome right now. Syndrome right now.
Yeah. Thomas Casper says Pat Williams does not have the financial backing. Total nonsense for the 10th time. I kind of agree with that. I don't see how Orlando would commit that much money to a baseball stadium.
There were a couple comments in here. I'm trying to find him. It's like, if he does have the financial backing, do you want to just spread that 80 miles west?
Yeah.
If you have the backing, you want to just put it 80 miles west?
Well, it's a tourist tax from Orlando. I don't think they're going to be spending it on building a stadium in Tampa. That's the public point. And that's where most of the money comes from.
Let's just pick it up from right here and move it over here.
That's what worked that way. Richie P says, I got a project in Orlando. I've been traveling through there for the past 6 months, and it is freaking nightmare. Stays congested without an accident or fender bender. I know. Trust me, I know it more better than anybody. It's where my girlfriend lives in Orlando. He should just jump on the Tampa bandwagon and invest with us. Yeah, that's not going to happen. He's Mr. Orlando. And it's because that the Solar Bears is all Orlando has for sports. Well, they have the Magic, and they have Orlando City Soccer now, and they have UCF. Orlando is a bigger sports town than you think. Plus, you need to compare Orlando to Las Vegas. People will come to the town to see their team play. I don't know about that. I think when people come to Orlando, it's theme park time, and I don't necessarily think those people are baseball fans.
I feel like a lot of people who are tourists have never actually been to Orlando.
Right. They just go to the airport, and they go to the theme parks, and then they're gone.
Never been to Orlando.
Yeah.
They probably don't even know it exists.
Yeah, that's why they want to put it in Aquatica, because you think you'll get a lot of tourists to go there. I don't know.
I do think it's a bigger sports town. Like, to me, it's worthy of getting another franchise. Like, I mean, obviously, it's never going to happen, right? They're never getting an NFL team or an NHL team, but I feel like the NFL would have worked in Orlando, in an alternate universe.
Yeah, I think football it would be.
But I think football can work in almost any market, to be honest.
Yeah. No way we're convincing the people that don't want to drive to St. Pete to drive to Orlando for a baseball game. Not happening. Exactly. People don't drive to baseball games except on the weekend, and attendance is not a problem on the weekend. It's the Monday through Thursday games that you got to be concerned with. Jordan says the Rowdies need to revitalize their MLS bid, and the Rays ownership needs to embrace that side of their investment too. They would make amazing return on their investment if they marketed the Rays and Rowdies correctly. Well, I think at one point, I think this is still very viable, that
could work.
Sternberg looked at what Arthur Blank did in Atlanta. I mean, who thought Atlanta was a soccer market? And I was actually there at the press conference when they announced the MLS bid. I still have my Atlanta scarf.
Oh,
yeah, collector's item, right? Yeah, and I was a little skeptical myself, because basically Arthur was dating this woman, and they were living together, and he was a stepfather to their kids, and the kids played soccer. So he became this huge soccer fan, and the kids were always soccer fans. So he's like, okay, let me get an MLS team, and I'll build a new stadium in downtown. He was still building the Mercedes-Benz at that particular point. I'm like, wow, your girlfriend likes soccer, and the kids like soccer, so I'm going to go buy an MLS team and I'll put up a new stadium. And dadgum, if they didn't fill the freaking stadium.
Yeah, and we're talking
they
about
had bigger crowds than the Falcons.
I know, we're talking about Mercedes-Benz here.
Yes. We're talking 65,000 people for a soccer game
Yeah.
all the time. Bananas.
Yeah.
So I think Stu saw that and said, well, let's build a dome. And that's because that's when he bought the Rowdies.
The Rowdies would do so well if they had an MLS, if they were an MLS.
And if you had if the baseball stadium would also be the soccer home for that team, you'd have an indoor venue in downtown Tampa. You don't think and you got an MLS team, you don't think that would do well here? Crush it. It would crush it.
Yeah.
And how many games does an MLS team have? 40?
Typically, it's like 35
Yeah,
to 40.
so that's another 15 to 20
It's a long
home
season,
games.
too.
Plus, if you're Tampa and you have a dome stadium that you can play soccer in, I'm guessing that you're going to get a lot of exhibitions and a lot more things as well to do in that stadium. That's why when you're talking about an indoor downtown Tampa stadium, it's so much more than just a baseball stadium. When we were talking about the Ybor Stadium, we were talking about that. You walk through it, businessman special, put a freaking sports book in there that's open 24/7. That place will be packed, all of it. So, yeah. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. The great and handsome Dan Lucas will join us via StreamYard, so we'll see his handsome face and get his wonderful takes on all things Tampa Bay sports. And also, Dave Canales, offensive coordinator, is speaking as we speak, and we will pass along some of the pertinent quotes. We already have a new offensive line lineup to share with you when we come back. Stay with us. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back. Yeah, and welcome to our new sponsor there. If you are getting taken off the Medicaid rolls that you got put on during COVID for your health insurance, a lot of folks, as I said, 1.7 million people in Florida are losing that coverage. So just call that number that we mentioned right there and find out what kind of subsidy you can get, and use the Affordable Care Act to get some great health insurance at a low, low cost. All right, let's bring in our good friend from WFLA, News Channel 8, my former colleague and handsome fella. How you keep that hair like that, man? You still got
this is bedhead, dude.
I know.
This
it
is
just pisses me off.
Yeah,
You have product in there, and you got a freaking hell of hair going on.
you put product the day before, and then you go through your daily life. Then you go to bed and sleep with your head mashed into the pillow, and it wakes up. It's beautiful.
It still looks great. Yeah.
Perfect.
Our good friend, I don't know if we got Pat Williams coming on the show tomorrow. I know you've interviewed him many times. He's the best. But I think Pat has reached a little too far on the dreamer scale here and wants to build a $1 billion baseball stadium in Orlando.
What a great press conference yesterday. He was fielding questions, and he was waiting he couldn't wait to get to the the artist renditions of of the
Best
ballpark.
part.
And he goes, so people are raising their hands, they're asking questions, and in mid answer he stops, he interrupts himself and goes, all right, enough of that. Let's get to the pictures.
I can't dazzle you with my words anymore. Let's show you the pictures of the comic book and let us know. Yes. Yeah.
I'll give you my opinion that he's eccentric, says what he wants to say. He's kind of typical in that sense of anybody in that role, but he did he'll pull off the Orlando Magic, which was laughed at back then.
He did.
And they've got a new arena now, and I know
two arenas. Yeah.
2 arenas. So I think that, in all honesty, Orlando should be taken seriously as an expansion candidate. I do. Outside of the state of Florida, this is not popular at all because people you don't need 3 Florida teams, and then so everybody's trying to piece this together. Oh, well, this means they're going to get the Rays. And of course, Pat was asked about the Rays yesterday. And what is he supposed to say? Oh, of course, we'd welcome them if they couldn't get something done in the Tampa Bay area. But I truly think he's interested in expansion. Personally, I don't think he's interested in the Rays. He wants to. You know him. He wants to go out on his own and say he did it. He didn't rescue the Rays, is how it's being portrayed. So I think they need to be taken seriously because baseball is going to add 2 teams here, I guess, in the next 2 or 3 years, at least announce it. So
I would take umbrage with that as much as I love Pat Williams because, once he wants to get Orlando to throw in a bill, okay, good luck with that. I don't know if there's a public thirst for spending $1 billion on a baseball team that most of the people of Orlando probably really don't care about. Second of all, who's coming up with the $2 billion expansion fee?
Right. He was pressed on ownership. There's no owner.
Right.
And of course he did his. Hey, anybody out there in America is interested in
$2 billion laying around?
So that to me ruins the credibility when that's all you've got. I remember, a few years ago, our good buddy Bill Edwards, who used to own the Tampa Bay Rowdies, wanted to get the Rowdies in the MLS,
right?
In their last round of expansion, and he had kind of the same ideas. He had this wonderful rendition where they were going to remodel Al Lang Stadium, take it to like whatever 17,000, 18,000. It was gorgeous. You had the waterfront view and all that.
Beautiful.
And in the end, it was nothing, and they weren't even a finalist. So this is kind of the same thing, in my opinion. Without it's about bucks. The money. They want the big bucks, period. That's how people get expansion. That's what MLS wound up doing.
Yeah.
Finding the big pockets. And I think Major League Baseball is going to do the same thing. Every market that wants baseball, Montreal included, Nashville, Charlotte, Salt Lake City, they all have a great case. But who has the money? That's where it's going to go.
Who has $3.5 billion to get it done, to build a stadium and to pay the expansion fee?
Well, Dan, I know 2 people, and you know them very well, who are in our backyard, and they're also across the pond, and hopefully they're about to be like $7 billion richer. I don't know what their baseball acumen is.
Well,
I know somebody right there who has a lot of money.
How's their soccer acumen, guys?
Here's
I saw your shirt, so I had to.
I could tell you this: the sale of Manchester United is fascinating. It's 2 hours worth of discussion, but they are in an absolute stalemate at the moment on what they're going to do with this team, because originally when it was, a year ago or so, when it was, the Glazers are exploring ideas on what to do, they're selling. Well, then this bid from a Qatari sheikh comes in, and he's bidding for 100%. Yeah, it was fascinating.
Or is it chic? I don't know. What is it?
Sheikh. It was shake lots of dollars was what it was. And it turned out to be not as easy of a deal to happen as you would think. And then other prospects came in that wanted 69% of the club, which was the Glazers' ownership. And so then the latest is the Glazer family themselves are divided on what to do. And this is all reports that they don't talk about it. In Europe, they go after these poor guys. Avi, who's over there mostly full time, and also Joel, They
Right.
stalk him at all the NFL meetings. They won't talk about it, but there is apparently division within the family over who wants out, who wants to stay in, and that's where that is right now. So how does that translate to Major League Baseball? I don't think they're in a position where they could just say, all right, we're free of Man U, so let's do this venture.
I figured it out. I got the whole deal done. Right, just in this, you are my muse, Lucas. You give me the inspiration, as you as well. So you just mentioned they're gonna pocket about $8 billion, right?
Right.
Well, guess what? There's already talk because Raymond James Stadium is so old; it's 30 years old. We have to build a new football stadium. Okay, and we need new local ownership for the Rays. That's clear. We would all like that to get this deal done because obviously Stu can't figure it out. Doesn't want to part with the money. So why don't we just have the Glazers sell Man U, give Stu a piece or whatever, sell Man U for the $8 billion, okay, and then we build a brand new multi-use dome, like a big dome. Now I know they've tried to do the baseball, football combos in the past. The riverfront in Atlanta was a disaster. Atlanta, Oakland still has theirs. It's a disaster. I think we've come further in technology. I think from technology basis now, we can come up with a design that can accommodate a football field, a soccer field, and a baseball field all in a dome in a beautiful vacation tropical paradise in Tampa, Florida. And now we can be back in the hunt for Super Bowls and all-star games. It'll be the biggest multi-purpose stadium, and the Glazers will own the Rays. They'll own the Bucks. They'll have an MLS team, the Rowdies, going on in there.
That poor grounds crew.
I'm done.
Is all I can think.
They're gonna flip that thing.
The whole thing.
Every night is gonna be action.
We'll put it between Orlando and Tampa, right? And we'll get the $1 billion from Orlando. We'll send $1 billion. I got the whole damn thing figured out. We're done.
You want to really piss off Orlando? Tell them they can play Magic games there too.
We'll do everything here. We'll just do
right.
everything.
Exactly.
USF. We'll take the money from the USF Dome and we'll put it in. It'll be a multi-perfect. It's gonna actually move. It's gonna be like a spaceship, and it's gonna. We'll move it wherever the games are. We'll move it around. That's how
like
technology advances. We'll move it to Orlando for a little while. We'll put it in Lakeland. Yeah.
That's the old idea. That's
Nothing
the old idea of planting a big giant barge in the bay with a stadium on it and just let it float wherever it floats. So tonight the Rays are playing. Look, where are they? Oh, they're going to Gill Air Force Base.
They're starting in Tampa, but we're going to end up in
Exactly.
Tampa. We'll float it across during the game.
Exactly.
And then after the game, we got the better bars in St. Pete right down there to go to. And then everybody can just offload to their
controversy, because then people will accuse you
cars and go home.
You guys are set.
Flying cars.
The Currents in Tampa Bay are biased. They're pushing the ballpark to the bars in St. Pete after the game. This is fixed. All of it's rigged.
Pre-game in Tampa, and then post-game it's back and forth. Who knows? I mean, we got it all figured out.
I can see you getting hammered at the ballpark and walking out going, this ain't South Howard. Where am I? Where am I? What is going on here?
Must have been a spit take, Lucas.
Exactly.
That would have cost my computer. There's so many great ideas we have, and why
are we not?
You know what we're going to do? We're going to spend $1 billion on a stadium in a failed location in St. Petersburg. Good job, guys.
Well, Pat Williams thinks that they're going to get. He thinks the number he gave was $975 million from tourism tax, however you tap into that.
And
was
the mayor there? Was Buddy Dwyer there? Is Buddy still the mayor there? I don't even know.
I don't know. Our good buddy Mike Bianchi was there. I haven't looked for his columns today about it. He'll sometimes he can write some kooky stuff, but he's
all in on the Rays moving to Orlando. That's
yes, he is big on the Rays. Yeah, he's a big St. Pete, Tampa Bay basher. But we got.
No, go ahead.
I just think the Orlando itself should be taken seriously for MLB. But are the Rays going to go there? Hell no, they're not going there.
No,
I was just saying, it's like we got a horrible fan base apparently, and we got a team that's cheating. I mean, we just don't have anything. We don't have anything to the table.
By the way, I can't wait till JP is a guest on WFAN. They're going to love you.
You mean this JP or the Bronx JP? Which one you want?
Bronx JP.
You're
You're
Louis
going to
Pizza?
answer the phone.
Are you JP? Which
They're
one
going to call you up. You're going to answer the phone. Oh, JP. Oh, hang on a second. Let me go get him.
Let me get Louis.
Let me go get him a second, and then you bring yourself back in.
What the F you want? What the F you want, Cotton?
Tremendous.
Let's go.
Tremendous stuff.
The
But
best part, I think, if I may say this, my favorite part of my own rant was how educated I got through to the actual success of the Rays. By the end of the day, Louis the pizza guy had figured it out when Carton and Roberts couldn't figure it out. But Louis the pizza guy figured it out at the end. Hey, they're just better than you. They do things smarter than you.
Exactly.
Throw money at it like Cashman has done for 15 years of non-success. We do it a little better here in Tampa. No, they're cheating. God, it's so
it drives me nuts. And I'm a big fan of New York. I love going to the city and visiting, have friends there.
I used to.
But the whole aura of Yankees over everybody else, to me, it's a bunch of BS.
Well, now they're second in their own city to the Mets.
Right, exactly. I walked around Manhattan the day of a Yankee game many afternoons. Nobody gives a crap that the Yankees are playing that night. But you've got so many people there that if you can put 25 or 30,000 in that ballpark like that.
Right.
And it's like all of a sudden it's a great baseball city. It's just whatever. Nobody cares.
You get 25 million people there, the people that they put in there compared to the percentage of people that go to Rays games, I would guess our percentage is way higher because of
I'm sure there's a way to look at, to get that number, but I just no.
But we both went to Florida State and that's not happening.
Yeah. Personally, I think it's funny. I thought that the WFAN rant was pretty funny myself, but I know the Rays fans and any fan base is sensitive. So I don't think Rays fans should be made fun of for being sensitive to that, nor should any team.
Well, I don't think it's being sensitive. It's just you literally said in your comments, "I have no evidence to back this up."
You're right. Yeah. Well, in one
zero
sentence,
facts to the table, but I'm going to say they're cheating.
I'm not saying it.
I'm not saying it, but for the next 2 minutes, I'm going to say it.
Right, exactly. No, you know what? What do? You got time. You got time. It's the beauty of radio is you have time to say whatever you want and form your thought and defend it if people are not in line with it. That's fine. But sometimes these guys, they hit a point where they got to make a conversation about something. And that's where they chose to go.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, look at every single division in baseball. Instead of ripping on the Rays for being the number one team right now, look at the AL East and where your team is in relative to that, and look how bad the rest of the divisions are in baseball. Yeah. And all of a sudden, we can laugh at the Yankees in last place, but the AL East and all from top to bottom right now is just insane.
Yeah.
So like this series in Baltimore right now, the Rays, that lead's not big over the Orioles. If the Rays lose that game tonight, the Orioles have chipped away 2 games already. So the AL East is an absolute monster. Just have fun with it, respect it. Don't make fun of it. The Rays are going to hit a lull this summer. Every single team does. The only thing the Rays have done right now is give themselves a cushion to absorb that lull. That's inevitable for every baseball team. And then once you get into August, late in September, now what are you made of? That's fine. Somebody's got to be in first place. Give me a break.
They're stomping them the way they're doing it. All right, we just got an update from Dave Canales that the new offensive line looks like Tristan Wirfs at left tackle, Matt Filer, who they signed in the offseason at left guard, obviously Jensen at center. We haven't named
open competition at right guard.
Open competition at right guard and Gedeke at right tackle.
Yeah.
So I would say Hainsey is going to be your right guard or your right tackle, depending on how bad Gedeke turns out to be.
Remember, we talked about this not too long ago, and I said Gedeke should be the right tackle. You said Hainsey. Yeah, and my thought process, however this plays out, just simply because Gedeke was a converted tight end. In college, they taught him, size up, and they taught him how to play tackle. That's what he was taught, and he was a very good college right tackle. That's what I base mine off of. And so okay, well, how can you put him in the best position to succeed? Well, we saw what he did at guard. He had a hard time. So let's just see what he does at the tackle position, where I believe I've never played O-line before, but the right tackle is a fairly athletic position, right?
Yes.
Not so much. You're not so much pass protect as the left side as you are used sometimes getting off and helping the run. There's different aspects to right tackle that he might be better at. Who knows?
And when you look at the Bucs in general, we talked about this on Monday because the whole Peter King call came out, and he's not alone in this. So everyone thinks the Bucs are going to be one of the worst teams in football this year. Right?
Well, they're not playing internationally, so Europe doesn't want them.
Yeah, Europe doesn't want the Bucs.
Much,
There you go.
I thought we took Germany by storm too, but I guess I was wrong.
Yeah,
we've been kicked to the curb there. But
head coach Todd Bowles.
But everyone thinks this team's going to be really bad. And like everybody's like, we've been saying this team has too many talented players. And I'm like, how many things have to go bad for the Bucs to be picking number 2? Like a lot of people are saying, or to be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Do you kind of see it the same way? Like, do you think the Bucs are going to be this horrible team this year?
No, I don't. I see them. Well, there's no such thing as 500 anymore. So you're on one side of the line or the other. Last year they were 8-9. To get to 8-9 this year, it's going to be tough. But 7 is realistic, I think, and 8 is probably attainable. I still don't think the NFC South is over the top. It's exciting in the quarterback, realm, with the new quarterbacks, but it's still going to be a very winnable division with 8-9 wins. But they got to get to that line somehow. I mean, they're going to win 10, 11 games? No. But if you can get to 7 or 8, you may not be a playoff team, but you're definitely relevant. You're not going to be a high draft pick. To tank, what is tanking now? 3 wins? 4?
Yeah.
So that's I just don't see that being possible. Not with Todd Bowles' job on the line. I don't see that.
So I'm looking at the schedule comes out tomorrow night, right? And and look at their schedule, and it's going to be a first place schedule. So home, you got and look at the quarterbacks that they're going to be playing. Home, you got Chicago, Justin Fields. You got Detroit, which will probably be Goff still. You got the Jaguars coming in with Trevor Lawrence. The Titans.
TBD on that quarterback situation.
You got the Eagles. Right. Okay, that should be a fun game at home. You got the Panthers and Bryce Young. You got obviously the Saints with Derek Carr and then Desmond Ridder. They're going to play a lot of young quarterbacks on the road. Jordan Love and the Packers. Minnesota probably going to be Cousins still.
Yeah.
Houston, they're going to start C.J. Stroud. Indianapolis, they're going to start Anthony Richardson. San Francisco going to start Brock Purdy. Maybe
if he's even back.
Yeah, the Bills, obviously, and then the Panthers. Then you got your home opponent. So they play a lot of young quarterbacks next year. I see a lot more than 3 wins on this schedule for this team.
Yeah.
And our thing this whole time, Dan, I don't know if you agree with this, and we hate saying it because we love Todd Bowles so much, but as a person, but he's the wild card. He's got to be better. He's got to create a better culture. He's got to have accountability. He's got to be better in managing games than telling Tom Brady with 45 seconds left, you're not good enough to go down the field. Don't use the timeout. I mean, you can't have that. He's got to be better. So I think this roster is good enough to certainly compete for a division championship. They're not winning the Super Bowl. Who knows?
Right.
But I mean, they're not the second worst team in the league unless your head coach is a complete knucklehead. And I don't think he's that.
I think we put a lot of the credence into these power polls, preseason rankings, and definitely a respectable, reputable legend is Peter King. His opinion matters, and it's not uneducated. However, it's an opinion, and we talk about the same thing in college football. We have these way too early rankings, and things don't shake out. It's just for you to read and absorb and do what we're doing, have discussions, and somebody's got to be ranked ahead of other teams. But I think the Bucs are being punished for obviously Tom Brady, but the lack of names due to free agency. But when you look at what's coming back on this team, offensively, I mean, do they suck at wide receiver? I don't think so. The run game, I think, is going to get better.
Yep.
And I think that the Bucs are hedging everything on being a better defense. And so you're going to get to what's a target number per game? Just mentioned all these quarterbacks. So give me a number. Under 20? So if you can hold your opponent under 20, you have a chance?
Yeah.
I think that's what they're hedging it on this year. And I think that there's going to be plenty of games where they're holding opponents to 17 points, 19 points. And now can you get 21? That's the challenge.
Yeah, and I think last year, like, the defense was really struggled against, like, the really good teams in the league.
Yeah.
That's why I thought they were a bit of posers, honestly, throughout the season. But they've definitely gotten faster on the defense. We saw that in the draft, especially with the pick of Kalijah Cansey. This Ryan Neal got all pro votes, and he was there in free agency, and I think he's a big upgrade over a Logan Ryan, Keanu Neal. So maybe this defense will be even better. And last year, it's just a fact. When the Bucs ran the ball and got over 100 yards, I think they went undefeated last year when they ran for over 100 yards. So if you can get the run game to a better spot and the defense can be a little bit better against some of these better teams, who's to say it doesn't work out? Oh, and by the way, we love Tom Brady, but Baker Mayfield brings more to the table now than Brady does, just on the fact alone that you can do so much more with the offense. You can open it up and he can move a little bit. So I am a little bit more optimistic about them this year than maybe last year we failed to realize.
I'm a believer that the run game, the offensive run game, it's not only a time eater or clock management thing, but it's also a field flipper. So if a drive is not going to get points, at least the run game is going to get you to a point where you punt them inside their 20 and make it difficult for them to come out if you're ready defensively. And so I think a good run game can definitely control that. And that's also the element that I think Baker Mayfield brings to this, the ability to turn and go and get 6 yards if he needs to, that they didn't have with Tom Brady. So
Huge.
It's very interesting for me to see.
And by the way, as far as preseason odds, and we always think that Vegas knows everything. You know who was the second best odds by far last year to win the Super Bowl before the season?
Oh, was it the Bucs?
It was the Bucs. You know where the Eagles were? Far down in the middle of the pack.
And Vegas doesn't screw up often.
No.
So that tells you
I think their totals are, preseason stuff is a little bit, not as good. I mean, you go through it. I'm going through it right now, and there's a lot of misses in here. They had the Rams winning 10 games. They won 5, So there's the preseason polls are just what you say. They're there for fodder. And, the rankings, whatever you want to say, this Bucs team to me is going to be way better than people think. So we'll see.
This is the time of year, by the way, if you like to wager on a team or your team or if you look at the odds and you think, boy, Vegas has this wrong, this is the time to go all in, because once the games start, everything changes and becomes realistic.
Right.
So if you have a Super Bowl sleeper and they're getting bashed at the sports book, take them.
Take them.
Yeah,
absolutely. And by the way, happy Toronto golfing night.
I never in my life thought I would be excited about a Florida Panthers game. I
don't know. We call them the stinking Panthers. We don't like them either.
Yeah.
But we certainly don't like Toronto. And with Toronto, we were the better team. I mean, let's be honest. They got lucky to win the series. Good for them. And they celebrated like they won the freaking Stanley Cup. Whoops. Oh, we got more games? Is this how
that was
first round, you don't win the Stanley Cup? Oh, it's been so long we didn't know. Oh, there was another to win.
Being in the room when Sheldon Keefe spoke after that Game 6 win here, it did sound like, and I'm listening to the reporters ask questions. So it's obviously all Canadian media in the front asking the questions, and I'm sitting there and listening, and I go, did they just win a championship? He was talking about, John Tavares, what an honor it is to see a young man come home and live out his dream and all this. I'm like, this is the first round of the playoffs. Tavares raised the cup. That's your quote.
Right.
And then we found out they had cases of beer in the locker room. I'm like, come on. Come
It's
on,
the first
act
round.
like you've been there.
It's the first
Yeah,
round.
and their stars, the whole Marner, Matthews, Riley, and Tavares, they have combined for 0 goals
Yeah,
in
it's
3
incredible.
games.
To
0
be honest with
goals.
you, and we always have to say credit to the Leafs for answering the Lightning and getting to those overtime goals.
Yeah.
And shame on the Lightning.
Yes.
The Leafs haven't played a good game of hockey since Game 2 in the first round.
They haven't.
They played bad.
So you're saying
And
all those tip-ins and off the skates, they go away eventually, and then you got to really earn the goals?
Then you got to earn it, exactly. And breaks come your way when you earn them, for sure. We've seen the Lightning get those breaks, but they didn't happen. That's fine. The Lightning aren't crying and pissing and moaning about it. They're turning the page, ready for what they can do next year. But I would have thought that Toronto would have been flying right now as a favorite. This is a dead team walking. So.
Crazy how this NHL works. All right, my friend, always fun to visit with you. Thanks for getting up with your bedhead. It's great to see you. What do you guys got coming up this Sunday? You want to promote anything?
This week, we're going out to rookie camp this week. We're going to find some of the guys. And I know everybody wants to hear from the draft picks. I do too. But I'm going to sniff out some of these undrafted guys and see what stories we can come up with, because those are the best stories. These guys who are literally putting their dreams on the line at practice. This is Super Bowl week for those guys, and so I want to find some of those guys, because there's always one. There's always one. Somehow we'll latch onto the practice squad after camp, and we're gonna fall in love with them. So let's find that guy this weekend.
Sean
Sean Tucker's got a great story already coming in.
Yes, absolutely.
As your ticker, Sean Tucker. He has that heart ailment. If that's fixed, whoa, what a steal the Bucs got there. Who needs Ezekiel?
Absolutely.
Who needs an old broken down Ezekiel Elliott when we got Sean Tucker? No, we got plenty. We got Rashad White. We got Keyshawn. We got Chase Edmonds. We're fine. We don't need Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, right. You don't need that salary cap headache.
No.
What I don't see.
No. All right, partner. Good to chat with you. So we'll catch up down the line.
All right, boys. Be good.
All right. Can't wait for the multi-purpose stadium.
I mean, we solved every issue.
In
about 2 minutes of brainstorming.
Bada bing,
here.
bada boom.
Said one thing, and your wheels were spinning right away.
I just had the whole thing done. They buy the Rays. They're the only who's a billionaire out there. Do you get capital gains when you sell Man United for twice what you paid, and you make $4 billion, and so you have to reinvest. So go buy the Rays, right, and then 1.5.
Well, what I do want to know though is how much
buy them now.
How much of that money that they're going to get is to pay off debt?
Oh, they've already paid off the debt.
I understand though they have a lot of debt though.
Still,
they might. Yeah.
I don't know how, because they've made so much money. Made so much money. Like,
do they have any debt with the Bucs? Do we know?
No, they have owned the Bucs free and clear.
Okay.
Yeah, they own that. They've paid that off a long time ago. So that's worth. God, what's that worth? $5 billion. What are the NFL teams going for now? What did the Broncos just went for?
The Commanders are a crappy franchise and just sold for what, $6 million?
Yeah,
so $6 billion.
So they've got plenty of money. They could buy the Rays for 1.5. Put another $1 billion for a multi-use stadium, and of course Hillsborough County, if they're going to get a baseball stadium and a football stadium, they can put in a lot more money for that. Because you're doing both, because they're already worried about having to do the baseball. If they do the baseball stadium, that's one of the reasons they don't want to commit, maybe as much as St. Petersburg does to the Rays, because they know they got the Bucs coming up, and the Bucs are more important than the Rays.
Yeah.
So people haven't talked about that, but and then I know the baseball football thing didn't work in the past, but that was with old technology. You got to believe that they could build a massive dome for $2.5 billion, which is what two separate stadiums would cost, $3 billion, at least $2 billion, and have this, you can put it right next to where Raymond James is now, or you could build it downtown in Ybor. You probably don't have the space for that there, but you could build it certainly where Raymond James is.
It is wild.
It is wild idea in the world.
It is wild to me though that there are legit discussions about the Bucs need a new stadium already.
I know. I don't.
I mean, maybe I'm biased or something. I've never been to another NFL stadium, so I got nothing to base it off of. Well, I've been to Tennessee for the
which is almost a carbon copy.
Which is a carbon copy.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, Tennessee didn't really take care of that stadium well, and it's aged very poorly. And I saw that when we were there for that Stadium Series game.
Yeah.
I could see that. But the Raymond James, they've invested so much into it, and made it a great atmosphere.
It seems like a brand new stadium, especially when you go inside it, the new clubs and everything else they put into it. That stadium's got to have at least 20 million.
I hate where we're going, where it's like we got to have a dome on everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't stand that.
Yeah.
Every time I see like one of these big games in these domes,
it's so antiseptic.
Like the atmosphere to me gets sucked out of it. I don't know why. It just gets absolutely sucked out.
And when you watch a game in the Rose Bowl,
it just feels different. Even
on TV. And if you've ever been there for a big game, I'm telling you, folks, there's energies in this world at certain places. I'm a big believer in that, and I don't know what the energy is around that freaking Rose Bowl, but it seems like every time there's a big game, it's something magical happens in that place. It is just, and when you go into it, it's just between the weather and the trees and the mountains and the green grass.
Well, look at even
the old stadium. It's just like, I don't even care that there's no amenities in that place. Now, if I had to go to 41 home,
it's almost like how you probably didn't care growing up. I'm sure the Orange Bowl was a dump from the minute it was built, and I don't think.
Want to talk about
but I don't think anybody really cared.
No, we
necessarily.
Didn't, we didn't have anything. There was nothing better. I mean, stadiums were just nothing but seats, and we're going to throw a couple of hot dog stands in there. And I mean, I grew up in that. I know what that place smelled like. Oh my God, I could do a whole freaking show on
the most historic stadiums, like at least in college sports, like
that place was a piece of shit.
Yeah, you think of that one, you think of like Notre Dame, South Bend, that atmosphere looks great. The big house is always amazing. Like the best stadiums around here are outside.
Yes.
And maybe they're not buttoned up and have all the polish on them, right? But there's a character to it.
Even when you go to AT&T, which has some character to it inside.
So Jerry World?
Jerry World, yeah. But it's still antiseptic. It's not like a real outdoor stadium. So anyway, let's take a break. We might come back and talk a little bit about that, but I want to get into more of what Dave Canales said today. Harold Godwin did some stuff as well at the mic, so we'll get into some of those quotes and what did we learn about the Bucs today as they get set for rookie minicamp, and some really interesting players. Well, that draft class has so much potential. We'll talk about it when we come back. Brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and the Pro Padel League. We'll tell you about that as well. Stay with us. Here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Pro Padel League, which is starting up this weekend up at the Sarah Vandenberg Complex in Zephyr Hills. So if you're not doing anything this weekend and you want to see one of the fastest growing, most exciting sports in the world, come check out the Pro Padel League. I'll be emceeing the festivities Friday night. Former World Tennis Champions Martin Del Potro will be there. He's one of the team owners. Sebastian Giovenco, did I say that right? He's the MLS MVP. He owns the Toronto team. Tommy Haas is one of the owners of the San Diego team, I believe. They've got a lot of stars that are part of this league, and you got to go check it out. Just put in Pro Padel League and go on YouTube, and it's like racquetball and pickleball all in one. Really big in Spain, really big in Mexico and the European countries, and they're now having a North American league. So they're putting a lot of money into it too. So it's going to be fun. I would say come on up and check out these players. It is an incredible game and fun to watch. If you watch pickleball and you think that's great, wait till you see padel. It's crazy. So check that out this weekend. And you can go to just type in PPL League, Pro Padel, and you'll come up on, you can get tickets, get the whole nine. It'll be fun. So check it out. I'll be there all weekend long. A couple other, I want to get to some of the comments that are coming in today. By the way, thank you guys for always commenting. Richie and RJ Martin and Jordan, you guys are awesome. Jordan says, absolutely, JP. The county has plenty of money. As a county employee, I can assure you the coffers are just full, looking to be spent. The BOCC was pleasantly surprised by how much of a surplus they have. Yeah, all these bed taxes have gone through the roof. Hillsborough County has set a record with their occupancy tax because they've got so many more hotels and so many more people are coming that they have a lot more money than they thought they would. So I still think Hillsborough County is very much in it. They're just sitting there waiting to see what goes down in Pinellas. And I think Major League Baseball does not want that thing done in Pinellas anyway. And Stu's going to, turn towards Tampa and take the best deal he can get over there, which will be, probably the same deal he could have had 4 years ago with Ybor City, where he's going to have to pay half, which he said he will be willing to pay now. So we'll see I think this is far from done. And by the way, Jordan also mentioned that the Tampa Bay Times there was some release of some text messages. We talked about this on yesterday's show. Yes, they're still trying to keep it quiet, but what it looks like is the Rays are willing to kick in half of the $1.2 billion that is going to be assigned to the stadium part of this project. So $600 million, but he wants to keep all of the naming rights, which will probably eat up, could be 300, 400, 500 million of that. So essentially he's not going to pay anything for that half. And, St. Petersburg, the city's going to end up paying $600 to $800 million for this stadium. And I don't think there's any public support for it. Judging from when the Rays were thinking about doing that stadium downtown on the beach, they were, down on the Beach Drive, overwhelmingly the residents of St. Pete said, no, we don't want that. We don't want it. So, and I don't think they want to spend that much money on Tropicana Field when they can spend it on a convention center or more affordable housing or just more downtown stuff. So, all right, what do we got from?
I wanted to get to the Bucks if we want to move over to there.
Yes.
The things that came from Canales. So we talked about the offensive line, and I have to ask you this. I wonder how this lands because they made it sound like that Matt Filer has left guard locked down. Right? He's signed. He's our left guard. Everybody else is competing for right guard at this point. Does that seem like that should really be the play this early? Because I think Nick Leverett played pretty well. And I compared the two, and Matt Filer last year, and again, this is all PFF, so take it for what you will, graded out at 53.3. So he was one of the worst guards ranked in the league last year. And had 6 penalties and 5 sacks allowed. Nick Leverett rated as a 64, so he was right on the average to above average line for a guard, which I think is all you need.
Yeah.
Only 2 penalties, and how about 0 sacks allowed for Nick Leverett?
Everybody
I don't understand.
Poops on this guy, but I watched the tape.
I know, and I think there's a nastiness to his game that I like.
Yes.
I love that he's undrafted, and he's got he kind of plays like an undrafted guy, always trying to stick in the league. I know they brought in Filer, and they want a veteran there, but I think Nick Leverett might be a better player at this point.
How big is Filer?
6'6", 330.
Okay.
So he's a unit compared to Leverett, who's 6'4", 310.
Okay.
Well, so if they're trying to run the ball, maybe I understand.
They kept saying last year that they were undersized offensive line. And with Hainsey up there, maybe they were. But I don't see how 6'4", 310 is
you're not small.
Yeah. And if you're 6'5", 330 and you can't move and you're graded 10 percentage points lower than Nick Leverett, how in the hell are you automatically the starter there?
And he's like, 5-6 years older than Nick Leverett, too? So he's clearly going to be less athletic as well.
I know we didn't spend a lot of money on Matt Filer, obviously, because he's not that good. But no, I don't see automatically giving him that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
are we doing this again? Like, we're just going to put guys into starting positions? I just don't understand why we're going to put now Leverett in a committee with Hainsey and Cody Mauch to find who our right guard is. I think
nobody's talking about Cody Mauch. Why did we use a second-round pick on Cody Mauch and move up to get him to if he's not an automatic starter here on the offensive line? We're not even mentioning. I guess because he's I don't know, but
Alex Kappa wasn't a automatic starter when he got here either.
No, but he was a
third
round pick.
He was a third-round pick, I believe, but Mount's a second.
Yeah, there's a lot of fanfare around him. I'm not sure about that pick. We'll see, but I like the fact that they have more bodies in the line, and I think competition's a great thing. Yeah,
but to the
who's
point.
starting there now? It really doesn't even matter.
No, but I
They'll
just
figure that
don't
out.
like the terminology of this is our guy and nobody else is touching him.
Yeah, for a guy that graded out that poorly last year, yeah.
I don't see that one. And the other quote from this was from Harold Goodwin about the offense. He was asked about what the scheme would look like, and he said it's an offense that's trending big time around the league right now, and it's really good to have some new voices and some new philosophies, if you will, in the room, which is definitely pointing at you, Mr. Leftwich, with that comment, it seems like. And I think Harold had reached his wits' end with Byron Leftwich midway through the season when he was asked about the running game, and he said the plays are there. They're in that book that he's reading, but they ain't calling them. So clearly,
it literally seemed like, and we talked about this, and lots, all the guys from Loose Cannons and all the great podcasts we have out there, we're all talking about this, is like, we're the most predictable team. We know when we're going to run. And it was almost like Leftwich was just like, I don't care. I'm going to call runs.
He was reaching his weekly quota to run the ball.
Yeah,
but
but there was no, and as Dan Orlovsky said, and we said many, many times, and Kurt Warner, it's like, I just don't understand what they're trying to do. They're not using the pass to set up the run. They're not using the run to set up the pass. There's no sequencing of plays. One thing doesn't play off the other. And that's exactly what this hodgepodge of shit was last year. And people think, oh, because Tom Brady's not here, you can't. No, it was so dysfunctional last year, and Brady was bad, and Leftwich was bad, and it made the offensive line look bad, which I don't think they were as bad. But the idea that the offensive line, they didn't fix the offensive line. Well, first of all, Donovan Smith played with one arm last year, okay? And they still, their passing block and grading was not bad. And I know you can say, well, it's because Brady got rid of it so fast, whatever. But the bottom line is, this line is better than last year's, and I don't think last year's was that horrible. You got Ryan Jensen back at center as opposed to a guy who was playing there his first game. And you had Gedeke for 6 games, who was a disaster. And once Leverett came in, he solidified that. So, and then you're going to have a left tackle that can actually play left tackle in Tristan Wirfs.
Well, you are taking Shaq Mason.
That's a loss.
We forget about
Shaq
Mason's not there. And
right.
I'm not going to act like Shaq Mason was played at an all-pro level by any means.
But he was good.
But he was a steady presence that I could rely on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tristan Wirfs played right tackle. So I still think this line has the potential, and if Cody Mauch is what we think he is, he's going to be one of those glass eaters that moves in at left guard or right guard, right? And so I think this offensive line has the potential to be really good.
And regardless, by the way, and
again, I'm not a Gedeke fan until he shows me. I'll put Hainsey at right tackle and Mauch at right guard.
Well, I was just going to say also, let's just say Cody Mauch wins the right guard competition. I'd probably venture to say, based on his draft position, he's the more talented of the other ones.
That's what we're told.
And Stenny's still around too.
Right.
If something happens like last year where you have injuries all over the line, you can give me Robert Hainsey and Nick Leverett and Aaron Stinney as the backups on that line. If that's what we're rolling with as backups, well, my goodness. I mean, I've seen Josh Wells back there who was almost unplayable. And
we won a Super Bowl with Aaron Stinney. Right guard.
I saw Brandon Walton get in there, and it did not look great. I've seen other guys in years past, like Goster Cherilus. My goodness.
The Goster Cherilus reference,
Goster Cherilus killing me. Killing me, man, when DeMar Dotson couldn't play. Goodness.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, from a depth standpoint, this offensive line is light years ahead of where it was last year. They have more NFL-ready bodies to compete. Right. If something happens. Where last year, I think they just couldn't withstand some of those injuries.
And I think that's why they didn't go out and get a right tackle. Why they weren't, everybody was saying that they're so focused on tackling. I was saying, I don't see that when you've got 2 guys in Hainsey and Gedeke that played right tackle at a high level. You've already drafted a right tackle. And don't draft another one.
The right tackle you would have taken was going to be Anton Harrison.
Right.
And I think everyone would have told you it was probably a reach at 19.
Yes.
Probably a reach at 19.
No, you can't see who can be a transformative player. I'm not saying it's definite, but he's just got that Aaron Donald vibe to him. And, and it's not just because he played at Pitt. Turn on the tape. You'll see what I'm talking about. And you've got guys that are grown-ass men that you already have on the offensive line. Yep. Robert Hainsey's been here, 3 years now? He's a better right tackle than Anton Harrison. Am I wrong? I would, right? He played at Notre Dame and he played very well at right tackle.
He did. He's been removed from that now, and he's not. The reason why he's not there is because he's not long,
and because he's been playing in the NFL. By the way, he knows the NFL game now. So he's a better player right off the bat than you would if you brought in any rookie at right tackle that you were going to choose at 19.
Another quote coming out right now, because all the assistants are speaking. This was from Skip Pete, the new Bucs running back coach, who was asked about Ezekiel Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that Zeke has to accept that his role on a new team would to take him from a $12 million running back to a $4 million running back. And then the quote here, so who's going to be the one to tell him? And obviously Skip Pete worked with him for years in Dallas. So
that is a man that knows Zeke Elliott very, very well. And I'm not talking just as a player. Zeke loves him some bling. Zeke loves him some money. And you think, and you got to ask yourself, what kind of effort are you getting from this guy who's already, he's made his money, right? He's been the bell cow. He's not that guy anymore. I mean, do you think he's really going to be balling out?
Well,
no,
I don't think you don't need him necessarily.
Not for $4 million.
No, but I mean,
this is what happens. And this is what translate this for you. Dude is motivated by money. He's motivated by money, and now he's going to be making a hell of a lot less. How motivated is he going to be? I mean, that's oversimplifying it, but I think we hear you talking. I think I hear what you're saying, and I wouldn't. If you're one of those Buck fans that can't wait to see Zeke in a Bucs uniform, I wouldn't hold your breath. That ain't happening.
I don't think.
Of course, I didn't think Antonio Brown would play here either. But
no, but I don't think I can't see Zeke. No, and I think they're fine in that running back room right now.
Who's Zeke better than at this point of his career?
Okay, well, I'm not going to go that far. He's better than Chase Edmonds. He's better than Keyshawn Vaughn. Don't you tell me that Keyshawn Vaughn is better than Ezekiel Elliott. It's not. I'm not saying that
Zeke is a better talent, but how motivated is he going to be compared to Keyshawn Vaughn? Keyshawn Vaughn is highly motivated. Mm-hmm. He will run through a wall. Zeke, I think he'd be making a lot of business decisions.
I mean, has he ever really done that though?
No, has he ever played for $4 million? By the way, it's not going to be 4. It's going to be 2.
I want it to be a little lower than 4.
It's going to be 2.
To be honest,
not going to be 4. It's going to be 2.
But no, I think they're fine there though.
Yeah. So, you want to tackle this one? Urinal troughs at the old Sombrero was freaking disgusting back in the day.
The Sombrero was long gone before I was on this earth.
I got to get Fitzy. Fitz the mortgage guy, Scotty Fitz. If you're listening, Fitzy, tomorrow I'm calling you out. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe we'll save it till Friday. Fitzy's got I had to take a dump at Notre Dame Stadium story where they don't have stall doors.
Oh, I'm interested.
They don't have stall doors. It's just a line of You doing that? Mister, I don't even want to take a dump in public. You doing that? How bad do you have to go? Notre Dame Stadium.
I would
when there are no stalls. They're just open toilets. Like lined up in a row. How bad?
I would leave the game.
Number 1 versus number 2.
If it got to that point, I would leave the game.
Fourth quarter tie game.
Yeah, I'm out. What I'll do is here's the thing.
Game of the century. You're out. I'm not doing it.
I'm out.
Just can't close your eyes and get it taken care of and just get out.
No, I'm out. The urinal trough is funny. I was telling you in the break when I read this comment. Like the first time I saw one was in the infield at the Daytona 500. And I walked in there. I was probably like 8 or 9. And I walked in. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I see all these like big,
this doesn't smell like my bathroom at home, Mom.
No. And I see these big redneck men walking up. Yeah. These rednecks walking up and they're spitting in there in the trough and everything, and it's just floating by me. And I'm like, what is this? And by the way, I'm sure it's still like that in the Daytona infield today.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I go to the East Bay races here in Gibsonton for the sprint cars and late models, and it's the same in there too. The trough is still alive and kicking at East Bay Raceway as well.
It's got a nice
and you're walking
odor
up
to it. You're
walking up to it.
Nice
you're
aroma.
Like, you're walking up
smell
to
it from about 100 yards away.
Yeah, you walk up to that bathroom and you stop and you just take a deep breath.
Got to hold.
Here we go.
We're going in.
We're going in. And if it's a long line and you're just standing in there, like you have to endure the smell while you're in there, and there's nowhere to like wash your hands either. It's ooh.
Yeah. Modern amenities are needed.
See, I was before this. This happened at a Lightning game, and this was before Vinnick pumped money into the arena. They didn't used to have. This is how bad I am about using the bathroom in general in public.
Yeah.
They didn't have the dividers between the urinals.
Same at Tropicana Field in the outfield.
Yeah, they don't have that.
Yeah.
They don't have that.
Yeah, it cost me one day.
But I remember going up to the bathroom.
I won't mention the name. I just, God rest his soul, passed away recently. But a very well-known person in the Tampa Bay area was so hammered and was peeing next to me, and I'd had a few beers myself, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And the dude literally with no divider. Whoa, yo, hey, Orcas, don't we have a spray area here? Just stop spraying on me, man.
No, I'm the guy where if I don't see dividers on the urinals, I will wait for the stall.
Yeah.
It's because I just can't do it.
Yeah. Welcome to Tropicana Field, baby. That's what you get. Yeah. Talk about a spray hitter. That guy was a spray hitter. He's all over the outfield.
Old school.
He was old school. Going the other way. Watch out. Heads up.
Oh my goodness. This show was something today.
It was something today, huh? You were like, what are we going to talk about today? I'm like, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We got it all in, right? We didn't even have to go to sound today. We didn't have to hear Cash bemoan the thing last night. The thing. We couldn't get a hit. Double plays. What are we going to do? All right, we're back at it tonight with the Rays and Toronto's last night this season. Oh, we got to play a second round? I thought we won the cup already. No, it's not how it works anymore. It's been, I know maybe in 67 it was a couple rounds, but it's been a while. So they're out tonight. And some basketball on as well. Have a great night, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be doing the CEO Council tomorrow with Eric Neander, Jason Lights, and Julien Brisebois. So I'll have a roundtable for you. We're going to play that for you on Friday. Have a great day, everybody.